बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। अस्सलाम वालेकुम बच्चों, क्या हाल है? खैरियत से हैं आप लोग? यार आप लोग बहुत कम आते हो, 22 बच्चे आए हुए हैं, क्या बाकी बीमार हो गए हैं?
नो सर, बीमार
सर
नहीं
आहिस्ता
थे।
आहिस्ता ज्वाइन करेंगे सर सभी।
आस्ता आस्ता क्या मतलब, ये कोई जल्दी ज्वाइन करने
सर
का मतलब
मे बी
बनता है
किसी के
इनको?
पास सर मे बी किसी के पास इंटरनेट इश्यू हो सकता है सर।
सर वो इंटरनेट इश्यू होता है।
हाँ नहीं नहीं बिल्कुल, ये तला तू तो सच बोलता है, हर दफ़ा ये एक बात करता रहता है।
थैंक यू सर।
तो और कोई बात भी करना, ये कितनी सीजीपी तेरी है?
3.35 सर।
3.35 शाबाश। चलो ये बताओ, लास्ट लेक्चर में हमने क्या पढ़ा था लास्ट लेक्चर में हमने?
ऐसा नहीं आती है।
हाँ जी, देखो चला गया तला है, क्यों भी? हमजा हमजा बात करे।
जी जी सर।
ये तला चला गया है, ये क्लास में अब नहीं आएगा नेक्स्ट टाइम मेरी में, फिर ये बता देना उसको।
नहीं सर, आंसर आ रहा हूँ सर, आवाज आ नहीं रही मैं।
आवाज आ रही है, मतलब ये बताओ क्या पढ़ा था आपने लास्ट लेक्चर में? मैं फायदा ही कोई नहीं अगर मैं मतलब आपको पढ़ाता हूँ ना, आप इतना भी नहीं बता सकते पढ़ा क्या।
इकोलॉजी एवोल्यूशनरी क्रॉप्स पर।
हाँ जी,
हेलो।
कितने अफसोस वाली बात है तला, तुम मतलब ना बिल्कुल एक लफ्ज भी नहीं बता रहे हो। चलो ये फाक बताएगा,
सर
फाक
बोल
मलक
रहा
तुम
हूँ।
बताओ भी, फाक मलक बताए
जी सर।
क्या पढ़ा था मैं लास्ट लेक्चर में?
सर रेजिस्टेंस पढ़ा था, कैरेक्टराइजेशन ऑफ रेजिस्टेंस और उसकी 9-10 टाइप्स थी, वो सब कुछ पढ़ा था सर।
हाँ, और
सर उसके अलावा क्रॉप स्टेज रेजिस्टेंस से आगे 5-6 और भी पढ़ाई सर।
वो तो हो गया है, ये मतलब 7-8 लेक्चर आपके हो चुके हैं इसमें कवर, ठीक है ना? हाँ, तो आप लोग तो बिल्कुल ही मतलब निकम्मे जा रहे हो, फिर तो नहीं आता है।
सर 7-8 लेक्चर्स ये कैरेक्टराइजेशन ऑफ रेजिस्टेंस और मैकेनिज्म और रेजिस्टेंस के।
ये बेटा थोड़ा थोड़ा पार्ट है ये बीच में ना, ये
सही।
आपका बहुत लंबा चौड़ा इसमें चीज़ें कवर हो गई हैं काफ़ी ज़्यादा, इसमें मुख्तलिफ एस्पेक्ट्स जो थे वो जा रहे हैं इसमें। अब ये कौन सा वीक जा रहा है हमारा? चौथा वीक है। 3 वीक्स के जो है ना वो बीच में चीज़ें काफ़ी कवर हो चुकी हैं आपकी। तो हमारी
Okay,
क्या
sir.
पढ़ा था हमने, बताओ आप।
Sir, in the first lecture, we were studying about the characterization of resistance, and there are eight categories of resistance, and we continued from the 6 characterizations of resistance. That was screening condition resistance, then 7th genetic resistance, and after that, we studied 8th miscellaneous category, and they have further division as well. First of all, in screen conditioning resistance, we studied two greenhouse resistance and field resistance. Greenhouse was just to expose the variety to insect population naturally, under greenhouse. And field resistance was to expose the variety to natural population of insect. And it is also known as moderate resistance as well. And after that, genetic resistance. In genetic resistance, we studied the number of genes. They were categorized on the basis of the number of genes, like monogenic, oligogenic, polygenic. And after that, major and minor resistance. In major resistance, we studied we call major resistance vertical resistance, because in this resistance, monogenic resistance and oligogenic resistance are collectively perform their roles. And after that, minor gene resistance. In minor gene resistance, we can say that this is that type of resistance in which many number of minor genes control the insect, and it is also known as horizontal resistance. And after that, in biotype reaction resistance, this was of two types: vertical resistance and horizontal resistance. In vertical resistance is also known as specific resistance, and horizontal resistance is known as non-specific resistance. Vertical resistance was a qualitative one, and horizontal resistance was quantitative one. In vertical resistance is not effective only against, it is only effective against certain specific biotypes of insects, not against others. While horizontal resistance is effective against all the known biotypes of insects. And after that, we studied about population concept. In population concept, we studied pure line resistance and multi-line resistance. Pure line resistance was the resistance exhibited by a line, which is phenotypically and genotypically similar. In multi-line resistance, we studied number of pure lines phenotypically similar and genotypically dissimilar are mixed, and after cross resistance and multiple resistance. In cross resistance is the one when a variety has the resistance to a primary pest. It shows resistance against another pest as well. This is called as cross resistance, and multiple resistance is refers to the protection provided to the host plant against different environmental stresses. Environmental stresses may be because of insects, disease, nematodes, heat, etc. And after that, you started explaining mechanism of resistance, and you said there are three mechanisms of resistance. And first of all, sir, your screen was not properly showing to us. Your screen got black. It does not move from the 7th page. In mechanism of resistance only, uh, I just have shown the non-preference, 4 point of non-preference.
चलो ठीक है, शाबाश बेटा। तो ये बेटा अपनी एक तो अटेंडेंस मार्क कर दो इधर जो चैट रूम के अंदर। दूसरा, मैं अभी आपके साथ शेयर करता हूँ कि हमने कितने लेक्चर जो है वो कवर कर लिए हैं, कितने रह गए हैं। तो ये आप थोड़ी सी सामने देख। जी बेटा।
Sir, most of the students are complaining about the notes, because if we have to prepare the lecture before the timing of class, then it's compulsory to have notes, and we don't have that. Even I text you and one of the other student as well in the group, but you have not responded yet.
For what?
For notes about the characterization and mechanism of resistance.
I will give you, don't worry about notes. Beta, I will provide you notes, but you have to first of all listen to me, and then I will share with you today about the course contents and the books available. You can also see those books online. So for your information that you are a student of university student do not use the notes. Okay? Shabash.
Yes.
Now today we will go through our Bismillah Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. I will show you the lecture breakup of this course, the introduction of this course and brief history of host plant resistance. And then third and fourth lecture is insect host plant relationship. These 3 and 4 lectures we will cover later on. 3, 4, 5. Mechanism of resistance. This is antibiosis, antixenosis, and tolerance. These will be covered in 3 lectures. Okay? And then mechanism of resistance, ecological resistance. So we already cover ecological resistance, mechanism of resistance, and then these two lecture first. तो कितने लेक्चर कवर कर लिए हैं?
हम लोग 7.
Genetic basis of resistance is also cover almost mono resistance and oligo resistance, and then is the third one is the mono, oligo, and polygenic resistance. So I will go through again for this epidemiological type of resistance. मैंने ये बेटा आपको ना मुख्तलिफ पार्ट से पढ़ाया है. तो today we will go through the mechanism of resistance again. So in the mechanism of resistance, as I already told you about, the mechanism of resistance includes non-preference, antibiosis tolerance, and avoidance or escape. ये पढ़ लिया था मारिया?
सर फर्स्ट मैकेनिज्म पढ़ा था हम लोगों ने, उससे आगे नहीं पढ़ा.
नॉन प्रेफरेंस वो पढ़ी थी आपने?
जी नॉन प्रेफरेंस पढ़ी थी बस.
So today in the non-preference, in the previous lecture we studied that there are different mechanisms of resistance. Actually there are 4 mechanisms of insect resistance: non-preference, antibiosis tolerance, and avoidance or escape. So the 3 mechanisms, first 3 mechanisms, non-preference, antibiosis, and tolerance, were given by Painter. The 4th one was added subsequently. Non-preference, antibiosis, and tolerance. Non-preference जो है वो इन तीनों का आपस में दे आर इंटरलिंक्ड विद ईच अदर. नॉन प्रेफरेंस जो है वो एंटीबायोसिस को भी करती है और साथ में जो है वो अपना टॉलरेंस के साथ भी इंटरलिंक्ड है. और टॉलरेंस जो है वो बोथ नॉन प्रेफरेंस और एंटीबायोसिस अगर होगी तो वो टॉलरेंस मैकेनिज्म के अंदर हेल्पफुल होती है. तो non-preference, I already told you that non-acceptance or antixenosis. Antixenosis is also known as non-preference. And what is non-preference? Non-preference mean the characteristics of the host plants which are unattractive or unsuitable for the insect pest. कोई भी इंसेक्ट पेस्ट है उसके लिए प्लांट के जो करेक्टरिस्टिक्स हैं दे आर अनअट्रैक्टिव और अनसूटेबल, आइदर फॉर देयर कॉलोनाइजेशन और फॉर ओविपोजिशन और फॉर बोथ. यानी कि नॉन प्रेफरेंस जो है वो ऐसे करेक्टरिस्टिक्स हैं जो कि इंसेक्ट्स के लिए अनअट्रैक्टिव हैं, अनसूटेबल हैं, कि इंसेक्ट जो है वो वहाँ पर उसको कॉलोनाइज नहीं कर सकते, ना वो उसके ऊपर ओविपोजिशन कर सकते हैं. These characteristics, ये जो कौन से characters हैं, these are maybe hairiness, different color, leaf angle, like here you can see this kind of leaf angle, और भी different kind की leaf angle है. These hairs, pubescence, ये सब के सब they fall under the non-preference. Now non-preference mechanism of insect resistance in some crop plants, I already told you about different crops, and they have a certain characteristics against specific insects. So for in case of wheat, for stems of fly, if there is a solid stem, then the stems of a fly cannot attract it toward that plant or that particular variety. If it is a hollow stem, then definitely sawfly will attract toward that wheat variety. In case of rice stem borer and rice stem borer, brown plant hopper, actually both these ones, they prefer that host, or they don't like that host if they have a longified stem or low aspergillus content or red pericarp or purple stigma. But in case of if the varieties they have a non-lignified stem, high aspergillus content, white pericarp or yellow stigma, then definitely they will like that variety. In case of maize, corn earworm, if the husk is tough, very tough, then the corn earworm did not attack on that variety. If it is a soft husk, then definitely they will prefer that one. High Dambua content is present in that variety. The corn leaf aphid cannot attack on that variety. If the low Dambua content are present, then corn leaf aphid will attack on that variety. Bollworm, smooth leaves, or if the leaves are hairy, then they will prefer that variety. In case of smooth leaf, then they don't like that variety. So if the varieties they have a nectarless, or if they have a nectar, if they are nectarless, then the bollworm did not attract toward. If they have a nectar, then they definitely like that variety. Similarly, long pedicel variety, if they have a long pedicel, then they will did not attack on that variety. So these are the few characteristics which actually help in non-preference mechanism of insect resistance. Then antibiosis, anti mean against, biosis mean life. It's mean these are those plant characteristics which have an adverse effect on the development and reproduction of insect pests which feed on resistant plants. So we can say that these are the plant characteristics, or they can negative effect on development or and reproduction of insect pest. Some cases, what happen if the insect feed on that particular plant or variety, if they have a chemical, the insect can be dead if they will feed on that plant. And this antibiosis, or this mechanism of resistance, actually is a two form of resistance to insect pest. The examples of antibiosis mechanism of insect resistance in crop plants includes the wheat, starting with wheat, barley, rice, or cotton. In wheat, hazelfly, stem fly, green bugs. If these varieties wheat, if they have a H1 to H3 genes are present, then the hazelfly didn't like that one. Stem fly, if the stem is solid, then they also don't. Or if they feed on it, then definitely they will affect their biology. Green bug, high benzyl alcohol content are present, they can kill even the green bugs. Similarly, in case of barley, cereal leaf beetle, if there is a wax is present on the leaf, then definitely it will disturb the biology of leaf beetle. Green bugs, high benzyl alcohol, rice stem borer, high silica content definitely will affect the biology of the stem borer. European cornworm, high Dambua content is present, they can kill the corn borer. Maize stem borer, high aspartic acid, low nitrogen and sugar contents can also affect their biology. Bollworm, high gossypal contents can also reduce the growth as well as can kill their pupa. And similarly, if they have a high tannin contents, they can also affect the biology of the cotton bollworm. I already told you that the Painter in 1951 classified the mechanism of resistance into three categories: non-preference. Non-preference, I already told you that these are the plant characteristics that lead insect away from particular host. It includes the activity of both plant as well as the insects. Cohen and Oatman for non-preference term they can call also antixenosis, which means expelling guest insects. So they can expel the insects. So these varieties of these plants are non-attractive for the insects. Can be expressed in cultivar through either allochemics or morphological characteristics. Allochemics are actually the chemicals which are present inside the host plant. They have a negative effect on the insects. So allochemic non-preference is found in cucurbits, in which plant produce cucurbitation, that is an attracting chemical for cucumber beetle. So it's mean Some allelochemicals, they are attractant, or some are they have a negative effect. So later on I will give you a detailed lecture on semiochemicals, which are the chemicals they help in communication of different organisms. So the semiochemicals can be allelochemics, and they can have a negative effect on the interaction between different species. So between an insect or a plant, or like within this same species, if then they are called pheromones. So I will tell you about that one later on. So allelochemicals are the non-preference characteristics which is present in the cucurbits which plant produce, called the cucurbitation, and they can help to attract the for cucumber beetle. The plant produce more cucurbitation are more likely damage done by beetle than other who do not have ability to produce these cucurbitation. So it's mean cucurbitation is not good for the varieties if they are producing that one. If the varieties they are producing less cucurbitation compounds, then the cucumber beetle cannot attack on that variety. Then is the morphological characteristics, or morphological non-preference includes plant structure, or the morphological characteristics which are present on the plants. I already told you a few examples in the previous slides. For corn earworm, the if the plant variety they have a hairy surface, then the Helicobacter prefer that variety for its oviposition. Plant who lack hairy surface and get much less damage by insect species due to low rate of their oviposition on plant surface than hairy surface. Second mechanism mechanism of resistance is called antibiosis. It refers to the phenomenon in which biology and physiological system of insect pests get impaired after consumption. So I already told you anti mean against, biosis mean life. So the symptoms of insect affected by antibiosis includes death of young immatures. So if some variety they have a chemicals which are against the any insect pest, so they can first can kill those young immatures. Then they can also reduce the growth rate of that particular insect. They can also increase the mortality in pupal stage. If in case of first step डेथ ऑफ यंग इमेच्योर, अगर डेथ हो जाती है यंग इमेच्योर की, जो उनमें से बच जाते हैं, तो उनका क्या होगा, रिड्यूस्ड ग्रोथ रेट्स. तो अगर वो मतलब 1 सेंटीमीटर का था, तो जो जब वो अडल्ट बनेगा या वो बड़ा होगा तो मे भी 1/2 सेंटीमीटर का. जब वो 1/2 सेंटीमीटर का होगा, तो अगर प्यूपल स्टेज में चला जाता है, तो प्यूपल स्टेज में क्या होगा कि वो जो है अडल्ट नहीं बन सकता, तो उनकी मोर्टेलिटी ज़्यादा हो सकती है. अगर मोर्टेलिटी में कुछ बच गया है, तो डेफिनेटली जब उनकी ग्रोथ स्मॉल हुई थी, देन द अडल्ट विल बी आल्सो बी very small in size, and fecundity will be reduced due to their small size and shortened adult lifespan. If they are small, definitely their lifespan will be shortened. Restlessness and other behavioral abnormality. तो अगर वो क्या होगा कि वो जो है ना मूव करता रहेगा, रेस्टलेसनेस उसके अंदर आ जाएगी, और इसके अलावा और बिहेवियरल एबनॉर्मलिटीज आ सकती हैं कि वो मतलब ना किसी ऐसे प्लांट पे मतलब चला जाएगा, या कोई घरों की तरफ आ जाएगा. ये कुछ स्पेसिमेंस आते हैं घरों के अंदर अट्रैक्ट होके, तो वो बिहेवियरल एबनॉर्मलिटीज होती हैं. सो if I will ask you to write down the symptom of insect affected by antibiosis, then you have to write those 6 symptoms. The third mechanism is tolerance. It refers the ability of host plant to withstand an insect population sufficient to damage severely the susceptible plant. So I already told you tolerance is the ability of host plant to withstand the insect damage. Unlike the non-preference antibiosis, only plant response is involved in tolerance. So it's mean plant response has major role during this tolerance. The non-component of tolerance include the general vigor. It's mean they are better than they are very healthy plants, and they have the ability to wound healing. So it's mean if this some insects feed on some plant, they can heal their wounds very quickly, and they can compensatory growth in plants and mechanical support in tissue and organs. So they have more ability to tolerate those damage or attack. The improvement advantage of this tolerance is that no selective pressure on insect population. So it means there is no pressure on insects to to get resistance against that particular character. However, the disadvantages is that the insect population may become epidemic in that area and cause problem in other crops. Maybe that specific crop can tolerate that population, but the other crops cannot tolerate that insect population, so there may be a epidemic condition in that particular area. And the other disadvantage is that the tolerance is much more affected by the environmental extreme than other form of resistance. So if a particular variety has the tolerance ability but cannot withstand the salinity or maybe a drought condition, so they are more prone to the environmental extreme condition. For example, several corn genotypes have the ability to appear and replace by the root feeders such as corn rootworm, and these tolerant genotype develop greater root volume with rootworm feeding than without. So it's mean these corn genotypes have greater root volume, uh, and this greater root volume is not good for the crop, because the plant is investing more energy toward roots, not toward the plant growth. So this is the tolerance. Now tolerance, I already told you, is the ability of a variety to produce greater yield than susceptible variety at the same level of sector. And these plants, they have the ability to, I already told you